we can see is that we had this beautiful uptrending support line that it bounced off of many times. Obviously we had this potential symmetrical triangle right here that broke to the upside after a nice back test. We hit this upper trend line of 66 bucks, got rejected, and then found support on our main support trend line, and we kind of controlled that trend line for a while here, but we could never really hold above the 66 bucks, and eventually we ended up breaking down from this trend line, and that's pretty much was our first confirmation of this bear trend. And although we had a nice double bottom here, we came back up, and then pretty much I wouldn't really say we retested it, not quite. No, we didn't really retest it, but we ended up creating this potential downtrending resistance line here that I was kind of speculating that we could be using eventually, but right now it means nothing. But pretty much we just came back and we back tested the same line here, this yellow line that was that same resistance right here. We hit it again right. I'm kind of starting midway through because my time ran out. But this is DraftKings, so I don't really remember what I was talking about, but basically, we were just kind of going over this channel and the support and resistance, and then when we finally did break down, we obviously lost support, and we could actually draw another potential support, unless I got rid of the last one. Maybe something like this. It does have a few touches here, does have some confluence, but I mean, even if I didn't start from here and I started from this point here, this would actually be a lot more clear, and then we can kind of see this was the previous support right here, and this is going to be something that's going to be critical to pay attention to for, potentially a swing idea later on, because where could we find resistance the next time that we do get a move here when this does eventually roll over, because I don't expect it to continue down, and I actually expect that we could potentially be gearing up for a nice move to the upside and maybe setting up here to have a nice reversal. And this would be my final potential area here at this $49 to $50 range, but I'll get into that in a second. So what we can see for right now is obviously we had this huge breakdown once we lost this trend support, this back test right here, just like Riot we just went over. This was our confirmation. It came up, back tested it as resistance, and that was it. It pretty much fell ever since. But right now we do have this potential falling wedge, or it's definitely a falling wedge here. And, we had those 3 touches right here. And then the 4th touch, we ended up, unfortunately, losing it. But the buyer stepped right back in. We pretty much set a higher low right here. And ever since then, we've been on this higher low trajectory. Now, of course, this could be that rising channel or rising wedge, just like we went over with Riot. The same style, potential style thing here. And this was something that, or an ascending triangle. I mean, is it ascending triangle? Let me just check. Obviously, we had a fake breakout, but yeah, it's not quite an ascending triangle. But something that stays pretty clear to me here is this level right there, and that's just, I'll zoom in so it's easier to see. I'm just eyeballing it from a distance. But something that's very, very clear is this right here. You can see that with these wicks, what was the wicks right up to every single time here? This 22.21. This is the same area that we're testing right now. It comes in great confluence here, at least with this previous resistance. If we looked out all the way to like a long-term trend, if I switch to a daily really quickly, maybe it'll have some kind of confluence. It's hard to say unless we look over. I mean, yeah, there wasn't too much going on, but we can definitely see that roughly in this range. We had a wick that came up here. Actually, it was, what is this right here? It was actually a wick right there that came up to 22.50 and, sold back off. And then the next test we just broke right through. But, that's the scary part with DraftKings mainly, is that this parabolic move right here, there wasn't really any cool off. So there was no time for any type of consolidation. This was pretty much the only consolidation that DraftKings actually had was down here. And, roughly between this level here where sellers are stepping in at 18.11 and then this potential support down here. I mean, really it's way down in this range here of this 11.30. But, thankfully, as of so far anyway, I can't say that this is guaranteed that it's not going to continue down. But if we just look down at some of these lines that I just made, $18, I mean, yeah, it had a wick below, but we didn't close any bodies below. But this level right here was where the buyers finally stepped right back in here. So, right now, the reason I'm even talking about DraftKings right now is because of this potential falling wedge, first off, which is a bullish pattern. I mean, we almost lost it and completely headed back down. But as of right now, we're getting very, very squeezed between this, where we've had multiple wicks coming down, and this resistance right here. This is going to be critical. Not only is this falling wedge resistance right here, but we also have this same area right here, this 2243 that we've been having multiple rejections at. And then if we looked on a daily time frame, we also have the daily 20 EMA. Let me go check it real quick. Daily 20 EMA is actually right there at this same trend line. And looking at, this is this yellow one, if I remove all these drawings really quickly, we can see that during this whole entire downtrend here, what happened to the price every single time we touched the yellow trend line, the yellow 20 EMA. Because we had this as beautiful, beautiful support for a little while here. And then when we lost it, we have huge sell-offs. And then we pretty much got rejected right underneath it, constantly rejection, multiple times. So, I mean, is this smart for us to say that we're guaranteed we're going up and that's it? This is it? This is the time? No, unfortunately. Although we can see some bullish things potentially happening, we do have to, as a responsible trader, we have to say, we have not been able to close above this. So what has happened every time we've tapped it? We've gotten harsh rejections. Is this the time that we're going to get this finally to break above? It's possible, and I'm actually looking like that way. And am I being irresponsible for getting into a position today when I did? Maybe, but I do have my risk in place, and that's the best thing, is like if you have a conviction and you have an idea of a trade setup, you can take them as long as you have your outs and your safety in place. So something to look at here is this 2283, and that's just showing right here this daily got rejected from it. We couldn't even bring this up higher, but this daily candle here we couldn't close above, which also was rejected by here. But right now we're getting squeezed between this uptrending support and this 20 EMA on the daily. So if we can actually see a move, tomorrow's going to be the day. If we get a nice bullish candle right here and we actually finally pop it, that could be a good sign. But really, what's tomorrow? It's tomorrow Wednesday. Tomorrow's Tuesday. I don't even know what day it is. Well, either way, I don't even know. I'm a little lost. But in the next 2 days, we're going to have our answer. Because although this could tomorrow pop above and then we get a daily candle body closed above, this has happened here in the past. And then we just continue on our run down. So we really need to see, a nice push up. And then, at least no bodies closing below and see what can happen. I mean, we can kind of see what happened here. We had, a candle body popped above. We had some multiple red days that were wicking below. And then we finally did see some confirmation here with some back testing, and then no candle bodies closed below. And then finally we headed up, and then we came back down. We retested it. So it was like, a lot of confirmation within this whole area right here, showing that price was going to continue moving up, which it did, and then we still got rejected once we finally lost it right here. But, this was a move from, if you were to, let's say you were buying some right here, this was around $48, and then you came up and it back tested it, and then you decided to buy it again here on 50, from the $48 and $50 range, it did run up another $14. I mean, that's not a bad swing trade right there. I mean, that's something that I like to do. I like to do $10, $14 moves. That's usually how I'll play stuff. So I would have been in and out definitely in that section, but I didn't really play DraftKings much, only in the $30 range and probably up till 40 or something, but I'm not even sure. But anyway, this right now is in a critical area, because this can be a bear flag. This can be just an ascending triangle that's going to break to the downside. There's multiple things. Usually when you're drawing a bear flag, if you do want to actually look at it that way, you have to find the previous pattern that broke down, which usually a daily candle will confirm that for the most part, which right here, this flat body candle. But, we could draw everything just to figure it out. But, in reality, what you do with a bear flag is you find the breakdown of the pattern, and then you'd find that would be the start of your flagpole. You wouldn't just come all the way up here or anything like that. Just something I learned, that you come to the bottom of the previous pattern, and then you would take your breakdown target. So if this is going to continue being bearish here, and I'll get into a few more things on it, on why I think it could actually go bullish, but this would be 1391. So that's why, you have to find your out, because you don't want to be over here like, oh, he's thinking it's going up. This guy's on YouTube saying it's going up, and now all of a sudden you're holding a bag and it's down at $14. So that's just an idea. And then also, if this was to be, and it doesn't really look like an ascending triangle too much, because we've kind of had like I've said, this is kind of like, I can't really call it I can't call it an ascending triangle, because we've only really had this one touch up here, and then we've had lower and lower touches. So we really haven't really made anything. I mean, you could almost make a case right here that, it's kind of tough to draw this out on the daily right now. I mean, really all we have is this downtrending resistance and this uptrending support line. But if you pop down to an hourly, you could probably pull a better pattern out. But, we could call this original falling wedge here, and then this could be just rising support. But yeah, even with that, I mean, this is kind of the consolidation that we have right now. It's not the cleanest looking pattern, but this is a lot of chop. So, the key takeaway here is that we have this uptrending resistance right here, and this uptrending resistance is roughly 22.44, and then on the hourly we do have a 200 EMA here at 23.41, which actually would coincide with this previous price action roughly. Even chalking it down to this right here, which is a nice wick right there, a nice wick right here, in this range roughly. I'd probably go to this wick. This might have some good confluence. So yeah, I mean, we could get a nice push up here tomorrow if we do actually do anything bullish, and we could come up and test this 23 area here, and then we could roll over and get a rejection, back test that daily 20. Obviously there's so many different things that we could do, but we just don't want to lose any of this. So I would probably keep my eye personally on roughly this 100 EMA, because it seems like as of right now, what we've done is we've popped the 100 EMA, we came back, we failed the back test, we came back up, and we've been kind of bouncing off it so far. So as long as we can continue holding it as support, we should be pretty good. Maybe draw a trend line from like some of this area here, and just say, if it was to drop below 21, I'm out of here. That's probably how I'll be playing it. I didn't set a stop loss yet personally, but I'm just going to be watching price just to see. But I think if we were to, lose that area, or definitely this area, but I don't like to move my stops too low, so I'm just in for a small risk here. I'm in at 21.65, 66, I think I got in on one of these pullbacks today that we had anyway. But so let's see. Let me get into some more things that I was kind of looking at really quickly. I'm sorry if this is boring to you. I'm not trying to make it boring, but basically, on the MACD, we did have a bullish MACD cross here on the hourly. If we look down to the 30-minute, we just were about to have a bearish cross, and we ended up actually rolling back up here. So it's possible, looking down in the smaller time frames, we can see that we're still in bullish territory here. This on a 15-minute, so take it with a grain of salt. But this could be some kind of inverse head and shoulders right there. We can go all the way down to the 5-minute, just looking strictly at the MACD, just to kind of see what's been happening, if we have any bullish crosses or anything. We had a bearish cross in the 1 minute, but that's doesn't really matter too much to me. But what matters to me is this 4 hour. Well, we can see that we were going to have a bearish cross here actually, and we ended up getting a nice push to the upside on the daily here. We are still looking good on the MACD, and it actually does kind of look like an inverse head and shoulders a little bit right here as well. So that's kind of a good thing to see right here. If this does play out, it kind of looks like we had a nice inverse head and shoulders breakout here. If we look to the 2 hour, I believe the 2 hour was calling for a buy signal, and that's what actually why I entered the trade, because I actually was seeing this rolling up here and looking like it was going to cross. So I ended up pretty much playing off of this momentum buy signal here. So we'll see how that ends up playing out.